We'll now proceed with the Mayor's report, and I'm pleased to provide the Mayor's report for the period of October 30th to November 13th, 2012. I can advise that, as you saw in the resolutions regarding the grant in lieu, a grant in lieu meeting was held with all stakeholders on October 30th to review the and make recommendation that each stakeholder proceed with approving in principle. My hope is that the GIL will be approved in principle by all parties, hopefully by the end of this month, and then there would be a public announcement as to the GIL, and all the approvals in principle would be ratified. October 31st was Halloween. I do note that it was a beautiful night, and the streets were crowded, and I want to acknowledge and thank members of the RCMP, Thompson Fire and Emergency Service, and Prairie Bylaw Enforcement for the presence on the streets to ensure, first and foremost, the safety of the children in the neighborhoods, and I understand that it went well, and I received a number of compliments with respect to that presence. I also want to acknowledge and thank members of Public Works for the work that they did on the sanding of the streets. We had a sander operating late that evening to ensure that we could get gravel down after the rain the previous day. So thanks to our administration, and I'd ask City Manager if you convey that to our personnel. On November 1st and 6th, I can advise that the Council met in terms of the 2013 budget. We are currently working on capital, and we will continue the work on the budget. I do want to say to the public that, as always, Council is challenged when we enter in the budget process, but I can assure you that we are working in the hopes of providing a reasonable budget that will continue to move this city forward, and I anticipate and hope that we'll be able to share at least the capital component early in the new year and then the operating to follow. And appreciate the efforts of the Finance and Admin Committee in terms of leading that budget discussion and the work done by administration in getting the materials to Council. There has been a significant improvement in terms of the provision of that information, and I know that all members of Council appreciate having the background information because they are tough decisions. Certainly having the correct and adequate information is helpful. On November the 6th, we also had an opportunity. We had visitors from the University of Manitoba making a presentation from faculty, and Mr. Sepatelli, can you advise which faculty that was? Landscape architecture, regarding a visit by the class to Thompson earlier in the year in light of some of the economic challenges that we were facing. And the students were asked to create a vision as part of the school project for how they saw Thompson moving ahead. And those display boards are available for people to view at City Hall. And I would encourage people to come down and take a look. There's some very interesting features that have borrowed on different themes from right around the world in terms of moving forward. So it's quite interesting. I want to acknowledge Deputy Mayor Hogan, I believe, attended that meeting as well. And it was interesting, and I know Councillor Walker will recognize this name. One of the members of the faculty that led that group was Rob Zonnefeld, who was a resident of Thompson way back in the early days, and I believe his father was the first manager of the Bay Store, if I'm correct. Thank you. So it was good to see Rob again in Thompson, and nice to see that he's still thinking of Thompson after a lot of years. On November the 2nd, I traveled to Winnipeg, as the community is aware, to attend a meeting with representatives from Vale, the province of Manitoba, and the United Steelworkers. I want to say that I thought it was a very positive meeting, and the stakeholders have made a commitment to continue the dialogue in terms of working to make Thompson a strong mining community into the future. On November the 5th, I had the opportunity to attend a meeting regarding the Crime Severity Index with mayors from across Western Canada. The City of Thompson took the lead when we reviewed the Crime Severity Index last summer. We noticed that in each of the three categories, the same communities kept showing up. So we invited mayors from each of those communities to sit down. And we had the opportunity, and I have to tell you, I thought it was an excellent opportunity And I have to tell you, when I heard them speaking, it felt like it was the same conversation that we have around this table. They face very similar challenges in terms of what is taking place in their communities, and that was what we had identified in the summer, the common elements. I can tell you further to that, some of these communities are doing some really interesting and innovative things to address their issues, and we've made a commitment to work together to share that information, likely to come together in Prince Albert, hopefully in the new year. And Prince Albert was selected. Thompson had made an offer, but upon hearing some of the things that are happening in Prince Albert, I think that is the place to go take a look at. So big commitment, and I'm not sure if anyone's been following the news lately, but the mayor of Williams Lake, who was on the conference call, has really challenged the government of BC in terms of funding for policing. So I thought it was a very good first step. I want to acknowledge and thank members of council for attending that meeting, as well as administration. And we will continue to move forward, as well with the support of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, and which Deputy Mayor Hogan sits on, and Councillor Fensky will continue to lead the discussion as Chair of Public Safety. As people are aware, November 7th we held the organizational meeting, and a media release was issued following that meeting detailing the committee structure for council for the coming year. On November the 9th, I had the opportunity, along with the city manager, to attend the kickoff to Christmas and grand opening of Nanny's Diner, and I want to again congratulate Donna Wilson and her crew in terms of what they're doing with the restaurant, as well as catering and bakery. And it's always great, as I convey, to see entrepreneurs investing in their dreams and moving their businesses forward. So I was pleased to attend that event. On November the 11th, I attended the Remembrance Day service held at the Thompson Regional Community Center, and I want to acknowledge again the Burntwood Legion, Royal Canadian Legion, Burntwood Branch, as well as the Army, Navy, Air Force. And I also want to acknowledge and thank members of the RCMP, Thompson Fire and Emergency Services, Knights of Columbus, as well as all the youth representatives from the variety of organizations for attending. I was very pleased with the service. I do want to remind all residents to please take the opportunity to attend the Remembrance Day service, because it truly is, as I said at the event, I believe it's an obligation of all of us to pay the respect and recognize the service. In terms of some upcoming events, I can advise that tomorrow, November the 14th, is World Diabetes Day, and there will be an event adjacent to the Thompson Fire and Emergency Services tomorrow. In addition, as indicated earlier, Councillor Kalata and I will be attending the mining conference on November 15th, 16th. We will be attending the reception where the City of Thompson is invited to bring greetings to the group. As well, on the 16th, we will also be attending a luncheon with the Premier, as well as some other events later on in the afternoon with other Northern Manitoba mining communities. And our goal will be to promote and to convey the message that Thompson is and will continue to be a strong mining community, both in terms of our operation here and servicing the industry in Northern Manitoba. Also, as indicated, on November 15th, we will be meeting with Minister Swan and Minister Irving Ross, and I highlighted what some of those subjects will be. Again, I think and I hope to be very forceful with the position of the City of Thompson in terms of looking for response to our questions. The time for nice dialogue is over. We need a response, and if we don't get that, I believe we need to take some bold actions and do some of those things ourselves. In terms of some other notes, I have two that I want to remind people. There has been a fair amount of discussion and concern expressed with wolves and coyotes in and around the community. I can advise that the City of Thompson is working collaboratively with Manitoba Conservation in terms of addressing this issue. I can convey that should people encounter wolves or coyotes in the neighborhood, to please contact Manitoba Conservation at 1-800-782-0076. That number has been posted on our website, as well as tips for residents in terms of how they would handle and deal with encounters. The other comment that I want to pass along is that winter weather has arrived, and it is water break season again. Over the weekend, we had 2 major breaks take place, one on Cree Road and one on Martin Bay. I can tell you that we mobilized action on both those. We are dealing with repairs. And again, there's often a misunderstanding. We do not want to see water flowing from a water break. However, we need to ensure that our resources are available and used to repair those on a priority basis. Residents are not charged for the water that runs during a water break. And again, I urge caution in and around. I drove late this afternoon after we had been at one of the sites doing some work. It was extremely slippery despite some of the gravel that we had put down. And more importantly, there was an opening well barricaded that the water was leaving. But again, urge caution. It is not a scene to go look at. It is a scene to respect and ensure safe operations are practiced. I can advise that there will be a special meeting of council held on November the 19th to deal specifically with the recommendations regarding the zoning bylaw and the district development plan that have been presented through the TEDWIG process. And lastly, I can advise in terms of proclamations, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as the Mayor of Thompson, I hereby proclaim November 18th to 25th, 2012 as Restorative Justice Week in the City of Thompson. I know that members of council attended events on my behalf and on behalf of the City of Thompson during the last 2-week period, and I would open the floor to any comments they may have. And I know, Councillor Clatta, you attended an event during that period.
Yes, I attended the Wapanuk School Aboriginal Veterans. Maybe Clint, you can help me out. What is the title of your event over there?
That's what it's called.
Thank you. They do an excellent job of teaching the children about the history. I was accompanied by our city manager, Gary Sepatelli, and it was a very nice event. Thank you for inviting the city, Clint.
Thank you. Any further comments from members of council? Councillor Beyer.
Been doing a lot more of walking lately, and you talk about the streets being slippery by the water break, but the kind of weather we've had with the wet snow and everything else, it's just terrible walking. So anybody who does a lot of walking, I ask that you take it easy, watch your footsteps, and crossing the streets, it's a lot easier for a person to stop than it is a vehicle. So yes, motorists have to be watching out for people crossing the street, but I think pedestrians have to respect that they've got an easier time stopping. So just those 2 little cautions at this swing season.
Thank you. Any further comments? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.